Hey everybody, Clif Braun here, author of Social Marketing. Thanks for supporting the book. It's just been a huge success, Amazon.com bestseller, and this is our second video here in Cape Town, South Africa. And we've kind of sectioned it out into 5 different sections. The last video, also 5 sections, and we've got some great live videos coming. But this is a great story I saw when I first got started that really helps me out. You know, Jim Rohn always talks about how the Bible is a compilation of 64 books, and basically it's all in story form. And I've personally found that I've always understood things better in story form than someone just kind of lecturing me, and so I think you guys are going to dig this. Now this is something I actually drew myself. Check this out. No, it's not a spaceship, it's actually a canoe. And this is you when you first get started in the business. And it's almost like, you know, you're in a raft and you're cruising down the river of life, and that raft is your job. And then all of a sudden you get into social marketing, network marketing, and now you've got this badass canoe. And compared to a raft, a canoe can go pretty fast. And so this is a super nice canoe, and this is you, and you're in there, and you're all by yourself, and you're like, awesome, and you're so pumped up, and you're excited, but you're by yourself. And if you've ever been in a canoe like this, by yourself, you're paddling, and you're just kind of going in circles, and you're not really going anywhere. And then maybe it's a week, maybe it's 2 weeks, but eventually you get that first person that joins your team. And I can remember the very first person that signed up, and I was like, whoa, I was so excited. I got my first person. And you get your first person, and they come in there, and they sit right here. And you're like, what? No, other side. But they're nervous, they're scared, and they want to cuddle up to you. And so they get in and they sit on the same side with you. And you're like, geez. And you're so frustrated because the person's not listening. They're not doing what you told them to do. They're not doing 3-way calls. But it's okay because you're working hard, and eventually you get the next person. Maybe this is like a month later. Maybe it's a couple days later. Different for everybody. But this person comes in and gets started on the right side. And you're like, oh, freaking awesome. And so he gets in, and then he grabs the oar, and he puts the handle side in the water, and he's like, ugh, and he's paddling. You're like, no, you freak, you turn it around. And he's like, no, I got it, I know what I'm doing. And it's like he's trying to reinvent the wheel and do things differently, and you're like, oh, you freak, and he's just not doing it properly. And so you go out there and you talk to some more people, and finally, you get another person in the canoe with you. And so this is like, what, the 3rd person that you've signed up. And he sits on the right side, and you're like, sweet. But this guy takes his oar completely out of the water, and he starts fighting with the other guy over recognition about who's paddling harder. And you're just like, God, it's just surrounded by idiots. And sometimes it's going to take you, like, you got to get like 10 people before you finally find a good one. So maybe you get another person, and then, you know, eventually you're going to get the right person that gets on the right side of the boat, starts working, puts the right end of the oar in and starts paddling, and finally you start to accomplish some distance. Now it's the time between when you join and when you find that first person that gets it, and he's coachable and he's working hard and he gets on the right side. And some of you guys, that happens like right away, and it's so exciting and it's like awesome. And for some of you, it might take a couple months before you find that first person. So you've just got to stick with it. Come to the meetings, come to the trainings. Eventually you're going to find that person, and you're going to start to accomplish distance, and you're going to start to make checks. So just remember, it'll happen for you. But when you're new, you're sitting in that canoe all by yourself, I know what it's like, and you're like, oh gosh, don't worry, it's going to happen. But it's not going to happen just by sitting around and hoping for it. You got to go out there and make it happen. You got to talk to people. And so Clif Braun, social marketing, that's section 1 of today's training. We've got 4 more steps, and I'm going to be bringing in a special guest speaker on one of our next videos, something you guys will really be excited for. Clif Braun, social marketing. See you soon.